Okay, Hotep, peace, shalom, assalamu alaikum, konnichiwa, muy bien, whatever you prefer. Um, what I like to discuss is Nature Boy, Tasha K, and the New York subway shooter. What we're going to have to begin to understand about these three incidents in particular is that what it's going to do is um, they're going to increase surveillance and increase how the content is viewed on social media. And these people use YouTube. Nature Boy use YouTube as a platform. Tasha K and the New York City subway shooter, apparently he may have been using YouTube as well. So with all three of them using YouTube as their platform to promote, whatever subject matters they wanted to promote, you can expect an increase on how our content is viewed, the removal of content, especially if they feel as if the YouTube platform is used to organize violence or and with the situation with Tasha K, that's defamation of character, and obviously she refused to remove the content that was asked to be removed by the judge. So, as a result of her refusal to remove the content, she too has been arrested. Now, she does have a bail. Nature Boy, his bail has been denied. He is his followers are still following him, and as I stated, there are or essences of polygamous relationships that are productive and healthy. Polygamy can work if it's practiced in a productive and a constructive way, but when you when you see some of the content that have been displayed on the YouTube platform in regards to Nature Boy, and they have investigated and interviewed many of those who live in the house with Nature Boy, and they are still following Nature Boy, and they still support him. So they have been released, but he is still being held without bail in regards to several charges. So, as I stated, when it comes down to a polygamous relationship, there are plenty of people from various cultures who practice polygamy in a productive way. But there are those who practice polygamy in a very unhealthy and a very unproductive way. The His supporters say they didn't feel like their life was threatened. Nobody forced them to stay there. They didn't have to be there, so they are going to continue to support him, and continue to organize despite the fact that he is incarcerated. So as I stated, with Nature Boy, with Tasha K, and with the New York's subway shooting, they are going to be monitoring the YouTube videos a lot more as a result of these three situations. And as I stated, when it comes down to Tasha K, she was asked to to remove the content um, from her platform, but her refusal to remove the content is the reason why she was arrested. And from my understanding, she had refused to move the content because she feels that as if it's a violation of her right to freedom of speech. So that is the reason why she is removing content. I mean, and she refuses to remove the content. She says that it's a violation of her right to free speech. She's allowed to use the platform or any, social media platform to express. And as a journalist and as someone who makes videos, and let's just be honest here now. I'm not getting into the situation with her and Cardi B, but when we look at the situation with Will and Jada, we can clearly see that prying into their lives and minding their business and you know it's really negative. It can be have a very, very negative impact, and it can help to, chisel at the destruction of a family. So that's one thing we want to keep in mind, that, the exploitation and the, using social media platform to exploit people's families, and, it can have a very, very negative impact. So we want to be careful and about, attempting to exploit people. Um, there are so many other things that we can be focused on other than trying to destroy Will and Jada's relationship. We want to try to encourage love, and we want to encourage love and healing and, wellness, whatever. But we don't want to be a part of the destruction of two, because both Will and Chris Rock are both great, and Jada are both great actors and actresses. And I think that, we try to often take a negative and turn it to a positive. And when Chris Rock made a comment about Jada and, looking like GI Jane, I mean, she really looked great. She really looked like she could play GI. She is ready, you know. She looked good with that bald head. I could see her bouncing up out of that water with that bald head. You know what I'm saying? Ready. So I think that we can take this turn into a positive. If we really, really open our minds, situation with Chris Rock and Will Smith, we can take it and turn it to a positive, because Chris Rock gave you a great idea for a movie with G.I. Jane, where Jada Pinkett is playing G.I. Jane with that bald, beautiful head, looking like she stepped out of the heart of the Serengeti, honey. Go, Jada, with that bald head, making up. I mean, it looks phenomenal on her. I think that Chris Rock should get something for his creative idea about about Jada playing G.I. Jane, popping up out that water, ready for combat. So I think he gave a really, really good idea. And I'm just being honest, I would love to see Jada playing G.I. Jane. I would love to see that on film. I think Chris Rock has a very, very creative mind, and that was a beautiful idea of um, a beautiful idea of one of the next movies that we, and I with all of the, with all of the um media attention that this story has obtained. I think that everybody, all across the world would definitely sit down to watch Jada as GI Jane. You know, she looks awesome. Forget, I don't know. Everything happened for a reason. You talking about alopecia? I don't know. Everything happened for a reason. You got that bald head now. You looking like, you stepped out of the heart of Serengeti. I mean, the last person I saw wear a bald head like that to look good was Grace Jones, honey. So Jada need to be somewhere up on Vogue. You know, come on, we can take a negative and turn it into a positive. So I think that that will be a great idea for a film. Tyler Perry, where are you on this? And I also wanted to say, I saw that Lee Daniels apologized to Monique, and I think that that is absolutely awesome and amazing. It is time for us to put some of our differences aside for the greater good. Stop looking at the speck in the picture and see the bigger picture. So kudos to Lee Daniels for stepping up as a man and recognizing. And I hope that other men of color will take what Lee Daniels has done into consideration and see that it's nothing wrong with taking accountability. It's nothing wrong with apologizing. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you had a good friend. It's nothing wrong with apologizing. And I was talking with someone about when you're younger and you split up with your friend, y'all have your words or something happens and you go your separate ways. And then you get older, you evolve and you develop a little bit, you learn a little something in life, your experiences, and you look back and you realize, I mean, we really broke up a really great friendship over that. So I'm so glad that Lee Daniels has stepped up to, um, took the initiative. Because that's when we can be stubborn sometimes, but he took the initiative, stood up and said, "This is was a good friend. She's my friend." And I obviously miss being friends with her. We had a great friendship and we should put our differences aside and, go on to the next level. That's what I'm talking about. That I have to commend Jilla for encouraging healing because that's what we need. We need healing in various parts, and not only in our in internal healing. We need some external healing as well, all across the planet. There needs to be healing, so that we can regroup, regenerate ourselves, and move on and go on to the next level. Because oftentimes when we don't heal, it does stagnate our ability to blossom into that beautiful lotus flower that we truly and really are underneath all of those layers. So, as I stated, um, the situation with Nature Boy, however, and I just want to say that, we need, if there is going to be, people who, practice polygamy on social media platform, it should not be anybody being mistreated or hurt or treated in a negative light in any way, fashion, or form, because that's not productive and healthy living. It's not productive, healthy love and relationship and communication skills when there is a sense of violence. People have to learn how to deal and get beyond their problems. Violence should be the last result, not the first one. And we have to, begin to understand that violence should be the last result, not the first. So we have to be, recondition ourselves. We have to reprogram ourselves. We have to regenerate ourselves in order for us to evolve and move on to the next level and to grow and to develop into, as I stated, better beings. Um, the situation where there were 300 people who were lost their lives in South Africa and the sea level is rising. Those are the things that we need to begin to focus on. It's not a game. It's not a joke. The sea level is rising. The sea level is rising at a very alarming rate. And the alarm shouldn't have to take for so a multitude of people to die for us to understand that there's a problem. And in order for this problem to fix, we're going to have to come together and unify, um, to collectively work on how to fix the problems and bringing about solutions. So, I hope, and like I said, when it comes down to Lee Daniels, I hope that other men of color take into consideration he was the bigger man. We need more men to stand up like Lee Daniels. I totally and so respect him for putting his differences aside as a man and going to a sister and saying, you know what? Yeah, I didn't like what you said, or we may not, but that's no reason to destroy a productive relationship. See, that's progress. That is progress. Somebody has learned. Somebody has healed. Somebody has learned, and they're moving on to the next level. That's what I'm talking about. Them shooting stars, baby. I love it. I'm amazed by things like that. I would definitely um, like to say I encourage it doesn't take much. If you were wrong, if you did something wrong, we have to take accountability for it, and move on to the next level. So as I stated, so respect Lee Daniels, and it's a beautiful thing to see them come together because as I stated, there is so much work to be done, and they could work together. The And Monique, she really did outdid herself with Precious. So we hinder our own progress. Well, you know what I'm saying? We hinder our own progress sometimes when we close doors. Um, and now that that door is open, I'm just waiting to see what type of work Lee Daniels and Monique are going to come up with. I really am waiting to see. I'm so glad that they worked their relationship, their friendship out, you know, and they're going to move on to the next. Maybe Lee Daniels can come up with the new GI Jane with Jada. I don't know, but um, it's time to come together and create a better and a brighter future for the next generation. Because there were people who thought about us before we were born. Those who led the civil rights movements thought about us. They thought about trying to make our world a little bit easier than they had it. And we have to feel the same way about the children in the future. We have to, you know, it's pivotal to their survival. Because if we got our young women sitting around focusing on why a black man is dating a white woman, it's going to be a problem. I mean, especially when there's more important issues to be focused on. We want to ensure that their minds are ready for the future. Free thinking. The critical thinking will be a must. So we have to focus on trying to ensure that the next generation, is a little bit better than the previous generation. And another thing I want to say, when it comes down to the music, we're going to have to work on the music. We're gonna have to work on a better relationship in acting and actresses amongst themselves, and we're gonna have to work on a better relationship when it comes down to the music industry and the entertainment industry and music. All of the beefs amongst the rappers is becoming ridiculous. Everybody got a beef. Everybody got a beef, but ain't nobody got no tacos. You know? And it's pathetic. It's not a good look. We can do and conduct and behave much better than that. If we went around from one geographical location and civilized, all throughout the planet, we can conduct ourselves a whole lot better than what we have. We can respect our men more. We can respect our women as well. Don't ask why the woman that you love doesn't have any respect for you, and you call her a bitch. You are a lunatic. If you think you're gonna get a black, unless she came out of horse stable somewhere, only then will you get him to say, okay, yeah. But publicly, no respectable, decent woman of color wants to be called and addressed by her significant other as a bitch. You ain't gonna ever get her to submit to you as long as you degrade and disrespect her. If you don't value her, nobody else will. If you look at her like she's a bitch, how are other people supposed to think of her? How are other people supposed to think of you? This is how you call and respect. You want everybody to respect you and look at you with respect, but look at how you treat your woman. Who the only person that's going to be entertained by a man calling a woman a bitch is a one that likes another man. Because a real man don't want to see that. A real man doesn't want to hear that. And see, too many of us have grown up without fathers in our lives, and as a result of not growing up with a father in our life, these men out here think that you have absolutely no clue as to what a positive male role model is. I never heard my grandfather refer to my grandmother as a bitch ever. That's why she got respect. And I never heard her call him out of his name. So when you call her a bitch and call her out of her name, expect for her to start referring to you as the same thing, especially when she's angry. She'll be nice and cool when everything's all good between y'all. But the moment the argument heats up, the first thing she's gonna do is the first thing that you've done. You call you a bitch. It ain't hard to understand some of these things. It's not complicated. We make it complicated. Let me make it clear to you. Any decent, respectable woman is not going to stay around with a dude, a man, whatever you want to call him, and he refers to her as a bitch. Stop preying on the fact that some of these women may not have had that father figure or positive male role model in life. I'm just letting you know. And the only woman that's going to put up with you calling her a bitch is one that actually feels that way about herself. It's actually one that conducts and behaves in that way. Because a real woman that has any self respect and any integrity and any decency is not going to love or want to be with someone who is publicly calling her a bitch. It's not going to work. She's always going to find something else to do conveniently when it's time to do you. You know? So the question now is some of these people may not want to get help. Okay? Because if you think that a woman is going to sit around and let you call her out of her name and respect you and submit to you, you got to be crazy. Maybe women in other countries, I'm gonna say that. Maybe a woman in another country, I don't know. But the women over here, unless they came out of horse stable somewhere and they've been used to being called that all their life and they think that that's their name. But a woman that know her name and know who she is, she's not putting up with that. So you better wake your mind, you better wake your behind up, honey. You better wake your behind up. Don't care if you go be with a white woman, go over there and call a white. If you want to call a woman out of her name, and if somebody cool with it, go over there be with somebody else outside of the race. We don't really care, but black women, we not putting up with it. Not anyone's with any decency or respect, darling. So you might as well call Tyrone or call somebody else. Ain't nobody putting up with that. Don't nobody want to be treated like that to make you feel like you to make the because that's what makes you feel good as a man. Okay? Because a real respectable man that loves and values his woman, he wouldn't ever refer to her in a derogatory way like that. And I know. Okay? A man that has values her and respects her wouldn't ever call her out of her name. He don't say he might get mad enough too. But just the idea of possibly losing her, he ain't finna do that. So you can it. So when you hear a man calling a woman out her name and calling all these nasty things, that man don't he don't have he may not have no any respect for her or any other woman. He may not respect any woman. He may have deep rooted childhood issues. And when you have deep rooted childhood issues, sometimes you have a sense of self hatred. Okay. So, just to make it clear, we can do better than what we have been doing. And as I stated, using the platform to promote, um, using the platform to promote um, violence. um, I think they're going to be censoring that and they're going to be monitoring a lot of the YouTube videos a lot more. So, with that being said, Hotep.